So get this. Speaking of equity and speaking of what's happening in America with respect to the meritocracy, a BLM chapter declares the U.S. flag a hate symbol and denounces those who fly the United States flag as unsafe, racist, and stupid. So the Utah chapter of Black Lives Matter condemned those who display the American flag, which they described as a symbol of hatred. When we Black Americans see this flag, we know the person flying it is not safe to be around, the post read. When we see this flag, we know the person flying it is a racist. When we see this flag, we know the person flying it lives in a different America than we do. When we see this flag, we question your intelligence. We know to avoid you. It is a symbol of hatred. So there's actually one part of this statement that I think is somewhat true, and that is when we see this flag, we know that the person flying it lives in a different America than we do. And I think that to the extent that if you are Black and you live in an inner city, what you should really be asking yourself is, yeah, I'm sure your experience in that inner city is different from the suburbs. Why is where you live so awful? Because who's running it? Ask that question. Who's actually running that city? Who's in charge and who has been in charge for generations? And you haven't gotten any better in your life because it's unsafe. The schools are terrible. I mean, just go on and on and on. And
this is the next step. We were just talking about how they shun people. So now they're gonna try to mock people with the American flag. And I don't know if you guys saw, but George Foreman was in the news this past week because they've been telling George Foreman to stop putting "I love the United States" or the American flag, because he did it on the 4th of July on his tweets. And he said it correctly. He said, this country is giving me more than any other country could ever give me. This country feeds more people than any other country in the world.
That's because he sold so many Foreman grills.
Well, and it's funny because I was talking to a young man in my gym and I go, you do know that George Foreman was a boxer? And he goes, well, he doesn't have anything to do with the grills, right? I was like, no, that is his grills too. I mean, George Foreman is old, but I didn't know he was that old. They had no idea that he used to be a boxer. He probably made more money on the grills.
He's very thankful for the opportunities that he has given, and he's really taken advantage of those opportunities in a good way. Namely, he had this God-given gift of literally being able to beat the heck out of anybody.
And worked hard.
And worked really hard at it and succeeded and made millions of dollars doing so. And then transitioned into the Foreman grill business, which apparently is also a very successul business.
But if they're successful at us now shaming the American flag and taking it down, then once again, we don't have borders. We don't have a symbol that we all unite under. And then we're all divided.
Oh, absolutely.
Are we even a country anymore? And that's their ultimate goal, is to remake America into the image they want. And so no GPAs, no flags, no borders.
Oh, we want to remake America into something they control even further.
Right.
Yeah, no merit, because and that's the conversation here, is you get rid of merit, and then you get rid of any kind of reward system, because then you say, of course, Matt, you can't be successful in the real estate business because of the fact that you sold houses that had to have been for some reason other than the hard work. And this person over here should be given some of the money that you have earned. And I know we've talked about this many different times in the podcast, but what's really different is, and I enjoy this too. It's one thing I really enjoy is going to Boy Scout, Eagle Scout ceremonies, because you go to an Eagle Scout ceremony and they have all these badges and they have to actually earn them. Right. They actually have to do something to earn each badge, and it's called a merit system. And that was always very reflective of America and still is, I think. It's just that for some reason, we need to figure out how to get that back and restore that ideal that hard work should be rewarded and that laziness shouldn't.
Well, again, I think they do it out of revenge. I mean, this is to penalize one group of people for their political beliefs or, their support of the country. And they see you as opposition, and they're going to do everything to squash you. It's, all their policies revolve around one word to me, and it's just revenge.
Revenge. It's true. It's classic Marxism. So, Matt, what would you do if someone came up to you and said, I'm triggered by the American flag that you're flying on your property. I think it's racist. And I think it's also, a form of white supremacy. What would you say?
You need to go back and learn some history over again, because no other country in the world.
No, you wouldn't say that.
Oh,
you would get really mad. You would say something different. I'm pretty sure.
I'm more measured nowadays, But no other country in the world has done more to fight racism than America. I mean, we are a mixed race society, and have done more to overcome racism than any other country in the world. So I probably asked the college goer talking about my flag, and just simply, hey, can you pick some other place in the world where you might be better off at, and maybe even offer them to buy them a ticket there, as long as they promise they can come back.
Yeah, well, that's an interesting conversation. So what would you say?
I'd say that there's still, and as messed up as the thinking is, there are still people dying, risking their lives to get across the border into this country because they recognize the opportunity that's there.
You mean they're fleeing free health care and free education for the horrors of capitalism?
The beauty of fighting a dog for your last chicken bone down in Venezuela. They're fleeing that. But as far as the American flag goes, and I don't know if you guys, and I just popped in my head when you were just speaking. So Biden's got a task force out now that they're going to start to go around the country knocking on doors to find out if you've been vaccinated. It's a soft feel, they're just going to give you your options, but they want to know. And you know what they're really looking for? They're looking for that optic of, we're going to knock on this guy's door. He's going to say he's not getting the vaccine. He's against it. And they want that American flag flying in the back because they think the people that aren't getting the vaccine are Trump voters or patriotic Americans, and they're the evil bad people. So they're always trying to paint this picture. And that's what I believe they're trying to do is anybody with an American flag. And it was nice to see this 4th of July. There was no Republican Democrat parade that I was in, but when you're walking, people had the American flag on. And I think that scares the left and the liberals, that we recognize the fact that life only asks for measurable progress. And Jim Rome was my favorite motivational speaker. He'd say, life asks for measurable progress. That's why they make those second grade chairs so small. You're not supposed to stay there forever.
Well,